Geib, and I'm a sports performance assistant at Purdue University. I work with our football, baseball, and women's swimming teams. I work for Coach McKeefery at the University of Tennessee as a coaching assistant, and I want to thank him for having me on Tribe TV today. So what I'm going to be going over today is some speed training on a speed sled, preferably focus on acceleration. So the first thing that I want to touch on, when we're using a speed sled to train acceleration, you want to try to use a shoulder harness. The reason that we're going to use the shoulder harness is because when you put it on through here, all right, it really lets you get set and put your body in the appropriate 45-degree angle, ready to sprint. All right. The reason that we're trying to do that is we're trying to emulate mechanics as much as possible. All right. The purpose of this exercise is to work on speed, work on acceleration, sprinting out. So we want to mimic it the best we can. The other thing that I want to touch on with that is that you want to keep the load very light or moderate in this exercise, probably about 15% of your body weight. The reason we're doing that again is so that it's a weight where we can move fast, and it's also a weight where we can keep good mechanics. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you guys a couple drills that we use here at Purdue. All right, so the sled drills I'm going to take you guys through today are a progression that we use with our athletes. The first drill that we're going to go over is an acceleration march. Now, this drill is an exception to that 15% rule. It's more of a strength speed exercise, so you can load it up a little bit heavier than the ones that I'm about to show following this. When we're doing this acceleration march, there's two things that you really need to think about. The first one is body lean. The second thing is really punching the knee forward and driving it back into the ground. We need to push off backwards so we can propel the body forward to accelerate. So I'm going to demonstrate it right here. Get a good forward lean, driving forward, and then you are punching through the ground. The second exercise in this progression is a bounding exercise. All right, the purpose of the bounding exercise now, we're taking the strength that we built up from working on marches, and now we're transitioning into a more explosive pattern. So we're getting in the same kind of setup position. All right, good 45-degree lean that we set up for in our march, but now it's going to be a bound step to step. So I'm setting myself back, same idea, pushing through the ground and bounding. The last drill that I'm going to demonstrate in our progression is just a regular speed-resistant sprint. All right, you got the weight again from the harness taken back at about 45 degrees, and what you're going to do is set up in either a 2-point, leaning forward that 45-degree stance, or if you got football guys, you can take them from 3-point. Now they're going to get set up in their right position, hits back, and same idea as the other ones, driving forward into it that 45, pushing away from the ground. So another way that we can combine the acceleration march with the sprint movement is to turn it into a complex. As I said earlier, the acceleration march is more of a strength speed movement. We can load it up a lot heavier. In contrast, the straight ahead sprint, the acceleration sprint is much less loaded. It's a pure speed movement. So what we're going to do in this exercise is put both of them together. So I'm going to go 10 yards, loaded heavy, got an extra plate on the top, and then another 10 yards right after taking off into a sprint. So here we go. And set with the march. And from there, right away, taking this off the top to unload it in the complex. Now I'll get set right into 10-yard sprint. Set up, starting off with a march. Just want to say thanks again to Coach McKeefery for having me on Tribe TV, and I hope to be back.